Hello, everybody, and welcome to another exciting installment of Champions of Eclypsia. So much has been going on. So much has happened over these past 8 episodes, and so there's just all the things doing all the stuff and whatnot. But first, before we get into that, I want to thank all of you for joining us today and hanging out with us and going through this mad world that is my brainchild with these wonderful people. Admin note, Noir couldn't be with us today. A little bit of a scheduling conflict, but that's okay. He'll be back with us next week. He will be missed. Sad face. But we're going to continue on and keep this story rolling. We've got a lot of stuff to cover and a lot of stuff to do, and it's going to be great and freaking awesome, friends. So, going around the freaking horn, we're going to start with Al. Al, how are you doing, bud?
I'm doing good. Getting a lot of D&D in this week, so pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty excited for today. So,
not brain fried?
No.
Too much D&D in, and I'm all like, I start developing multiple personalities, and I'm just wondering, who am I today? Anything new and exciting?
Nothing that I can really share yet. So, but yeah.
Ooh, secret squirrel things. Secrets. All right, Jay. How you doing today, friend? How's it going?
Pretty well. Thank you. So yeah.
Anything exciting happening?
There's a few things in the wings that are developing, so to speak. Not sure if we can share them just yet, but very soon.
Oh, if it's that one thing, then we're gonna talk about it.
Yes,
we'll talk about that.
But besides that, doing some Star Wars prep, RPG Star Wars prep, and so for other campaigns that I run and different stuff. So
fair. Being that young at heart.
Yes, that young at heart and an old body.
There you go. I get it. I appreciate it. I'm here for it. Oh, Joshua, how you doing today, friend? How's it going?
I'm doing fantastic. Enjoying the beautiful weather, the beautiful people. It's just life is good.
Awesome. I'm about it. Nikki, friend.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Yeah.
How's it going?
Hi. Hello. Hi, everyone. It's going good. It's going fun.
Yeah.
I have my werewolf game. We will talk about that later, but I'm doing good. I'm really excited. Today is an amazing day to share it with all of you people, these lovely people that I just want to hug and smush their faces because they're so awesome. So awesome.
Smush faces.
But of course, I can't wait to see the city of Whitebane burn.
And here it is again with the burning of this city. Stop with the burning of the city. It could be the last place of civilized. Well, I shouldn't say civilized. It should be the last place of like non-night faring individuals on the entire planet for all you know. And you're just like, nope, burn it to the ground. Man,
I love how you said should and not could.
You say why, I say why not. Kurt, that's how this works.
You're right. You're not wrong. You are not wrong. And as always, joining us behind the scenes is the wonderful DC Lasser running our sweet tech because he's awesome. And he's going to tell me, and he's going to keep track of how many times I mess up. And he's going to tell me time breaks because he is the Time Lord. But all that said, we're going to dive back in. A lot has happened. Our group, after having escaped the clutches of the, we'll say confused patron of the keep, is still within the Shaper village. Some very interesting things have happened. Namely, Petra almost has brought the entirety of the Shaper village under his sway with the help of the former chieftain's daughter, Serena. An odd alliance between the two has begun to form. And as such, that rest of the group is slightly apprehensive. It kind of felt like very much trying to piece those puzzle parts, those puzzle pieces together, put them together, make it make sense. But there is a morning feast. There's certain things that have to transpire now that the chieftain is gone. And that's where we find our heroes in the village. And it's almost as if, oddly on cue, the villagers come together and the feast begins. It's a feast of cheer, a feast of what amounts to happiness almost, but in that more celebration of life aspect. And everybody kind of huddles in and goes into the bunkhouse because that's the strongest building that is there, and the rain outside begins to pour. You find yourself inside the bunkhouse, warm smells of cooking foods, stews, people in general, as they're all conversing. It's not loud, it's not boisterous, but there is a degree of merriment that is happening here, something that is kind of hard to come by. And as you all are there sitting at the tables, just munching on, all the bunks have been pulled away and moved away in place of giant long tables. And at the top, at the head, at the far wall, you see Petra sitting there with Serena. Petra appears to be somewhat lost in his thoughts as he's kind of surveying everything before him, looking at everything before him. You're all at the table, eating your fill, enjoying the food. The floor is yours. What do you wish to do?
Einor.
Go ahead. Rob.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say Einor is telling stories, collecting stories, and just sharing as much as possible and like enjoying this merriment and indulging in it just a little extra above and beyond what he used to do in the tavern back in Whitebane.
Okay.
Sometime during the evening, Ralph is going to approach Einor and try to have a conversation of what happened back at the castle and what is that, and tactically trying to figure out what the heck we're going to do.
That you come up. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, Ralph just comes up to you and is like, sits down and just kind of sits and just starts eating. Just kind of, and it's this long pause of just eating and not saying anything right next to you.
Yeah. Einor just kind of like stops and is obviously like just excited and merriment. As soon as you say that, there's this kind of like focus, and he turns and he goes, okay, so here's what I know. And he pulls out his notebook that he's been jotting in since he left Whitebane. And he's like, okay.
What was that? What do we know? Why?
It was I believe that the Duchess of Whitebane, as this undead blight, she appears to be a lich. And if my assumption's correct, it's a guess based upon the tales and the stories that have been written. But if she is a lich, that means that there's a phylactery. There's something that even if we stopped her somehow, she's going to come back. And so if we were to try to stop her from being a blight on the land, we would need to figure out the phylactery situation and find it. Otherwise, we could stop her and she could come back, and it could be days, it could be years, but she would come back without finding that. If I'm right on that. We saw that she's a powerful spellcaster, and we would need to be better prepared for that as well. And all be ready to go in at once and strike instead of splitting our focus as we did last time.
Yeah, about that. So I knew she was an undead based off of the rottingness. Every time I tried to touch her or hit her, it was not good. Didn't know how powerful was she, which brings up I don't think we need. I'm more concerned she coming after us. I think we need to definitely wait on any more incursions, attack, whatever we're going to do. This is above our pay grade right now.
And going in better informed as well would be very useful, would be very good. We have some information, but we would want to probably do some additional scouting and stealth. And then Einar just kind of like laughs a little bit, some stealth approach and seeing what's going on. We would need to figure that out.
Let's just say it's on the back burner for now. I think we've got more pressing things to complete. So just put it in the back burner, and lucky that we're alive.
Any drinks to that?
What about the rest of you? What are you doing during this festive time?
Flint is in a corner of the room. He's kind of eating by himself. Occasionally, his eyes wander over to kind of Petra and Serena, just watching them for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got that book out too, so he's kind of like reading it in a way that, he's trying to act like he's not bringing attention to himself, but he wants someone to come over and talk to him so he can spread the good word. So, like, okay,
like he's hoping one of the villagers
yes,
kind of come up to him and talk to him.
Yes.
Okay, all right. I mean, you do have a couple of people who are interested. They're very keenly looking at your book, though, as it looks like it has this. The book itself almost has a presence about it that, is kind of eye catching. Like people are like, what is that kind of thing? And you do have a few people that are there looking at it, and like, what are you reading? What are you looking at? Just a couple of they're not trying to pry because they're trying, they have that whole like, oh, that's neat, but they're not trying to pry because it's that whole, they don't know, it's that weird social thing of like, oh, hey, that dude's reading a book and it looks cool.
Right.
But I'm not 100% sure if I should ask him about it or if he's going to get mad and breathe fire on me because I interrupted his reading time.
Right. As opposed to real life, when you are reading a book and people just decide to interrupt you because they think they can.
They're being respectful of you may want privacy.
Yeah, and Flint's like, no, come on over.
Okay.
If you're curious, this is. I found this book in the Elven city of Ferendel, and it told me a little bit about the old dragons, the firstborn. It's really interesting.
Really?
Yeah.
But the dragons are, well, aside from yourself, the dragons they're gone. I think aren't your kin the only ones that really remain of them?
See, I thought so too. But then so reading more, realized that the dragons are still out there. They left. The Ember Peak is where they could be. And I'm assuming they can't read the words, right? Like
no,
they can't.
They can't.
Okay, yeah. I just read in this book that they're in Ember Keep, and I'm thinking about the Duchess, and if I was able to bring back these dragons and kind of persuade them and remind them that that as the firstborn, they are the protectors of this land, and they are the ones, that they can help and they can bring back and help defeat the Duchess and protect this world. And he says that his eyes kind of wander for Petra for a moment too. He's like, I believe that everybody has that path. Some people believe that the path is with the church, and it is for some, but I believe that this could be a path to our salvation.
Are you saying that the the dragons would be our friends?
Yeah. Kind of akin to like an older sibling.
But the legends say that they tried to kill all of us.
They did it, that is so really, I believe it was the war. It's both sides that did it too, because
Well, I mean, that's true. Is there more stories in there about them?
I have to read more, but I'm sure there are.
Is the Ember Peak like you have this kind of teenage boy who
Yeah.
kind of is fascinated with what you're saying, and he's like, is the Ember Peak where you're from?
No, I grew up in Whitebane. My mom, and he distinctly uses mom as opposed to what he said about mother, because
Mm-hmm.
non-kayfabe, he knows that the person in his mind is not his mother, like it's not his birth mom.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't want to obviously make this person mad. It's like, no, I grew up there. My mom, brought me along to live amongst, my aunts, and they took care of me and taught me to, respect and protect others. And so I feel like that if I was instilled with this and I manifested too, that this manifested from the dragons as well. So I think Ember Peak might be perhaps it is a city that, similar to Whitebane.
What do you don't you like miss your home?
I do. I miss my aunts. I'm hoping once I get back to Whitebane, I can go see them.
Whitebane is the big walled city, right?
It is.
Yeah. I hope nothing's happened to it.
Well, it's not either. Perhaps someday you could go to, you yourself could go to Whitebane.
Well, it probably won't be there.
Why do you say that?
Oh, the chieftain didn't tell. Okay, so I was hiding in the trees when the big burnt armored man,
Mm-hmm.
right? And all his scary people came. I was hiding in the tree above the roads.
How long ago? How long ago was this?
When he was just here.
Just here before we got here?
No, like after you came, and then he came, and then yeah, I was hiding in the tree above the road, and I saw it. I saw what they were saying.
This teenage boy, does he look like malnourished, or I'm assuming he's eating well and stuff like that?
I mean, he looks like your average lanky, like teenage boy, right? Like he doesn't look like he's not underfed, but at that same time, all teenage boys are like nonstop eating machines. So,
right. Or like if he was going to sit at a table close to like Serena or somebody, she wouldn't be like, get away, get away, you peasant.
Probably not. Serena doesn't have that kind of air. She's respected by people, and it's that difference of like she doesn't demand the respect kind of thing, but they respect her because they know who she is.
Okay.
Kind of deal.
Okay. As he tells the kid, hey, thanks, and he passes on a little bit of his plate. Yeah, I don't need much, but
you should eat it up, especially since of what the burnt man said.
What did the burnt man say?
He said he was going to go to your city.
Oh. Could I make a possible history check to realize who he's talking about?
Sure.
Okay. That's not gonna ring any bells. We got a 6.
Okay. That's perfectly fine. Yeah, no, he just says that the burnt man says that they were going to go because the chieftain told him that there were no strangers in town. No. And he said that he told the big burnt armor man, that that maybe he should look elsewhere, or but not to come here because we were under the protection of the Plague Duchess. Or the Blight Duchess, the lady with the plagues, the evil lady up on the hill.
Okay. In a sense, then, you asked that the dragons did kill people. I guess they'd be akin similar to the Blight Duchess. She protects you. She gives you protection.
Right. But like, she's still scary and she could probably kill us at a moment's notice. But thank God she's crazy. Thank the gods, she's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, at least that's what my mom says. My mom says that she's crazy and that she's convinced that we're all still her people. So that's why she doesn't she comes and she sends her soldiers to come and get like food from us. Why they need it, I don't know. But they come and get it. We'd probably just give it to them if they asked us. But no, they've got to like raid us and we've got to like fight them because that's what the chieftain what the chieftain used to say that was our role. That's what we were supposed to do. We had to put up a fight. That way her guard and her soldiers could be trained for if there was a real threat, like the burnt armor man came back, right? That she could fight him because she don't like him.
Right.
That's what mom says anyway.
Nah, your mother seems wise.
When she was alive.
What nonsense.
Yeah, when she died, this feast like this didn't happen.
No, it's sad. Everyone deserves to be mourned. To have a feast in their honor, I suppose.
Yeah, that's true. But now I'm head of the house or the hut. And so, yeah, but that's okay. That's okay. I was hoping that, but things are gonna be different now. I don't know. Well, yeah.
Well, that's what I know. Well, but
yeah.
Just because things are different, just remember, you're a man now, and you can choose your own path if you want.
Yeah, no, probably not. No.
Okay.
No, because like mom had a specific set of skills that like I didn't get them all, but I got most of them, so I'm gonna be kind of stuck here.
Okay. Well,
as he's talking about this, he keeps like side eyeing up to Serena, who's like sitting there next to Petra, right? And just like he's just like has this look on his face like that's not like that whole like that's not gonna work. People aren't gonna like that. They're not gonna be happy about that. You know what I mean? That whole like that whole like ooh, two famous people got together and the whole everybody's sitting there going People magazine's like that's not gonna last kind of thing.
All right. And Flint's like, well, I don't want to keep you, young man, so
yeah. Yep. I should probably, once the rain passes, I think I'm going to go back to my hut and go to sleep because it's probably going to be needed because we're probably, we'll probably all be killed at dawn more than likely, but that's what happens.
Okay.
And he just kind of like stands up and just kind of smiles like this weird, awkward smile. Right. And just like, okay, bye.
Bye. May the firstborn watch over you, he says. He's like, that's the dragons. The dragons.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. And he walks and he goes over to he goes over the door and he like peeks it out and he kind of does the whole like, how bad is the rain? And then he shuts the door and kind of like runs out.
All right. And so we'll go back to reading.
All right. Maud, what are you doing?
Maud is still kind of looking at Petra and Serena and that whole, who hit their head? What happened? This is terrible. This is a real bad idea. Real bad idea. Looks over at Flint talking with, kids and okay, at least he's getting some socialization. That's good. That's good. Kind of side-eyeing Rolf a little bit.
Like as you're like looking at, you're fixated on Serena and Petra sitting there, and in the back of your head you just hear so which one's gonna kill which first?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out.
Mm,
I'm kind of thinking she's gonna do it.
I wouldn't put stock in that. I'm pretty sure Petra's probably gonna slit her throat in her sleep.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that tracks with Petra.
But at the same time, she'll probably just devour his soul in the end. Who knows?
Devour his soul? What are you talking about?
What do you mean? What am I talking about? You don't sense it?
Since what?
She's made deals to be as powerful as she is.
You mean
How do you not feel that? You don't feel that energy coming off of her?
I'm gonna look at Serena. I'm gonna very distinctively stare at her, trying to figure out what Marcus is sensing.
Like, are you trying to do like an insight, or what are you trying to do?
This was World of Darkness. I would be trying to get like some sort of awareness going, but insight's probably the best we can get with a vibe check.
Oh, you want to check her vibe?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're gonna try and check her vibe, it's definitely an insight.
Yeah. $19.
So the vibe that you're getting from her is very much she feels very pleased with herself.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And as she is pleased with herself, she looks to Petra, right? And you notice that she's looking at Petra, but she looks at Petra with a sense of like surface, like was insight, because you can kind of detect surface thoughts, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's looking at him like a well-captured game piece. Right? Like that, like
She's
if you were to
control.
if you were to see a chess player that just traded a bishop for a knight kind of thing, right? Like that kind of a well-placed sacrifice for a well-placed capture.
Yeah, Marcus, I'm not getting what you're getting off of them, but she's definitely happy with herself.
Well, I mean, yeah. The Fate Weavers have just, yeah, those are just weird people.
Well, you know about them.
I was one.
What?
Why do you sound so surprised all of the time? Since we're not keeping secrets from one another anymore, right?
Yeah.
I just, you just don't be surprised by those things.
I'm sorry. You were so clammed up for 6 years. Come on.
Well, I mean, when you're locked inside a girl's head who just sits there and goes, "I'm gonna burn the city to the ground," it happens.
I was very angry.
You're still angry.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, you are. You're still very angry.
I'm working through it though.
No, you're not.
Yeah, I am.
No, you're really not.
Yeah, I really am.
Okay.
This conversation isn't over.
Nah. Regardless, you may not like it, but you need to make sure nothing happens to Petra.
I hate that you said that, but I also hate that you're right.
It is not his time.
When will it be his time?
When it's his time, but I'm just telling you right now is not that time.
That's fair. Sorry, I was.
It's that whole thing of, when somebody's going to die, right? Would you want to know when you're going to die? Would that make life richer or make it worse?
Yeah, you're right. Counting down that clock is not fun.
Yeah. You're on borrowed time as it is anyway.
Yeah, I know that. We know that.
However, I can tell you this.
What's
Just
up?
don't let him make any sort of rash decisions. And despite what he says, keep a wary eye on him as well.
He's been a bit of a jerk, so that makes sense.
He has his reasons and his own agendas, not all of which are necessarily bad, just he has a different point of view.
That's fair. She kind of gets up and she kind of walks over to Flint with like a bowl of stew.
Mhm.
And she's gonna sit down and she's lightly elbows Ainor as she's going. And she's going to sit down next to Flint and be like, "Hey, how are you doing? You doing all right over there?
He nods until he closes his book. He's like, yeah.
You're not gonna go and try and run off and sacrifice yourself again? Because that would be bad."
Nah.
Good.
I found the purpose, I guess. So he turns over to Flint, or he turns over to Petra, and it's like, "What are we going to do about that?" I mean, I understand they're playing a game. They're trying to see who's going to one up the other and possibly lead to death, but their actions affect more than just them. It affects everybody around here.
Yeah, it does. Honestly, from what I've been getting, we should probably try and keep Petra safe. And she's kind of lowered her voice a little bit because she's not trying to be so loud and obvious.
I can tell you this much: we don't need to. We may not have to worry about the Blight Duchess attacking the village per se. It's this weird game too. Apparently, she protects the village. There's this whole thing. The people here are used as, practice dummies, for lack of a better term. They come here, they ransack the food. Her soldiers are trained, and until the Burning Man, just in case he comes. Oh, you didn't know. So apparently the Burning Man showed up, talked to the chieftain, who asked if strangers, air bunnies as Flint uses, were here. The chieftain said no, look elsewhere. So when I talked to that kid, basically said that the Burning Man might be on the way to Whitebane. So
You mean the man? You mean Garlos? The man with the lantern with all the souls in it?
maybe Al is not 100% sure. So, but neither is Flint. So Whitebane might burn. You might get your wish after all. He says with that.
Ainor looks over since Maud walked by and kind of like nudged him, just like trying to see if she was hinting at him coming over. And goes and upon like seeing like, oh yeah, this is a conversation, goes over and sits down, and in Draconic, in kind of the accent and language of somebody who's never heard it, says Dramulok, which is greetings, as he sits down and goes, "What are we whispering about?"
Apparently,
And then he like looks up as if like, it's that, isn't it?
A little bit of that, a little bit of other things. Apparently, we have a situation of where the Blight Duchess was actually using the people here as a training ground for her soldiers. So Rolf essentially grabbing a soldier and beating the crap out of a wagon with said soldier is probably not a good thing. Also, when we got here, apparently, that man in black armor with the ghosty lantern is now going towards Whitebane because, well, he didn't find us with his army of undead.
And they're left without their protection because it walked out the gates years ago.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think the Blight Duchess is the agreement, I assume, since, well, Rolf did the thing and we basically went up there and caused...
We smacked her around a bit.
Yeah, caused some problems. I don't think that agreement is going to hold true anymore. She's probably going to come down here. She's probably going to come for blood.
We did kind of dismantle her siege creature, but if Flint, I thought you had mentioned that you thought that she had a daughter that wasn't Maud, and he'll look up again at our darling couple.
Granddaughter.
Yeah, granddaughter. She wouldn't come, and it feels like this village would be of more use in their current form. I don't believe if she was to turn them undead, I don't think they would keep their strength that they have being humanoid. It feels like they're of more use as trained soldiers and allies alive.
Well, perhaps those who die in the training exercises too, she adds them to the army. Because it's not easy. That's simple to control undead. And he says that matter of factly, skeletons, whatnot too. But then, perhaps I don't think the Blight Duchess is too. I mean, she's also not of the sound mind. So
that's very true.
We do have. I mean, we have that situation up there too. But we also have Whitebane. That's our home. And that's also a big source of resources and information and other things that we would probably need if we were going to go fight this guy, as opposed to him coming back and we're still here. And, we essentially have innocent people.
Well, the Soul Lantern was here yesterday, looking for us while we were hiding in the tower. So if he is on his way, and Einor tries to do the rough math of how long would it take an army of that size to get to Whitebane? Because they should be making it there right about now, maybe within the next 12 hours.
So technically you've been at this village, right, for 3 days.
Okay, not two. Okay,
right. So when you first got there on that first day is when the interaction between the chieftain and the knight with the burnt armor, right? I.e. the soul lantern guy, right? They interacted with one another. Okay. So now the pieces have and then Flint has basically just uncovered that basically there was an exchange of words that happened between those two people. And so that is where that exchange happens. Now, mathing in your head, looking at the map or whatnot, right? That yes, they would be arriving to Whitebane if that was in fact where they were going today, or tomorrow rather, as this is the nighttime and they'd have it takes longer to move larger bodies of larger numbers of people than it does in smaller groups.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, so if we left now and rode hard, we could probably get there in time for the siege to begin against Whitebane. but that would leave us unrested, leave us
out of spells.
Also, I don't know how we would ride there since our horses are still somewhere in the forest around the base of the tower a mile away at the Blight Duchess. So I don't know that we could get there to help Whitebane.
How fast would it be if we went through the forest of the druids?
Assuming that we didn't defeat it,
we could long way around.
It's true. We going through the forest that we've been explicitly asked and agreed not to go into by the spirits of the druid, by one of the corrupted spirits. We could get there before the siege started. And potentially wake people up, but it would be cutting it close, and it's a much higher risk.
Yeah,
if that's what we wanted to do. But since we are without horses, the straighter line through the woods would be an easier path, barring everything else that's in the forest aside from trees and brush.
Marcus, you said something about a sacrifice to placate the thing the druids brought.
Yes.
What kind?
What kind of sacrifice?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, you lost a garrison of reclamation regiment. I'm pretty sure that was probably their sacrifice.
But you understand my point, to parlay, if you will, to be able to.
Are you trying to make a deal with an elder god?
Maybe, I don't know. I'm trying to think of things. I'm trying to figure out the best way.
That doesn't sound like a good idea.
I'm running out of ideas, though.
Well, I mean, yes. You notice that his voice very much shifts back to a deeper tone.
Mm-hmm.
Cutting through the woods could be tricky. Lord knows I died there. However, it could be done. But know that you may not arrive in time. It's a gamble at best.
Everything's a gamble right now. But I was thinking, we could be able to pull Petra out of the situation if we had to be like, oh, we've got to go. We've got an emergency. Save Petra's life.
That's entirely possible, but you're going to have to make that choice yourself. I can't help you on that one. More importantly, you're going to have to convince Petra to do the same. Not to mention, are you sure they're going to let him leave?
That's an interesting idea. We could make them chase us.
You want to bring the entirety of the village to chase you?
We could do that, though. We could, if they won't let Petra leave, then we could get them to chase us, and then we have a whole other army of people attempting to fight other people.
Question. I need you to do me a quick give me a quick wisdom check. I'm going to go with wisdom on this one.
Okay. Because, if anyone's going to burn down Whitebane, it's got to be Maud.
Fair. I'm just trying to ascertain whether or not you actually had an internal monologue there or not. Because like I could just see the rest of them just looking at Maud like, what is she saying?
Well, and that's why she's kind of whispering it around her friends too. This is definitely not, it's a 21, by the way.
Okay, so do you have an internal monologue or no?
No, Maud's never had an internal monologue when she's talking with Marcus.
Okay, so
She's been mumbling this around Flint and Ainor basically in lower hushed tones.
okay, so you two hear her having this conversation with herself.
The only thing I'll say about the proposed army is if we have them chase us, they're as likely to kill us as they are to. It could be they kill us, they see an armor man, and they're like, oh, okay, they leave. And that's if he lets them leave.
Yeah.
We're literally putting ourselves, if we have them chasing us versus joining to try to help, it's putting us between a Whitebane army sieging Whitebane looking for us sandwiched with people trying to kill us on the other side.
Also in the forest, where they're
Also in the forest where there is a corrupted spirit that would kill us for breaking a promise. And I'm not quite prepared for that unless I'm the only holdout. Because at least then we can die together and choose which of the three ways we want to go.
I mean,
I don't want to burn in Whitebane.
If one of us dies in the forest, we could be like, oh, here's your sacrifice, and the rest of us could continue.
Rolf, what are you doing at this very point in time?
I was just going to say, around this time, Ralph's been by himself eating, looking at people, figuring out like, okay, there's a lot of shifters here. There's people here that he's internal, and whatever ritual they did afterwards seems to have calmed him. And he has this, he's kind of contemplating, but he sees his companions having deep conversations in hushed tones. And around this time, he realizes it. And he just slowly gets up, walks normally over, slides down and sits next to him, and just starts listening and not saying a word, just listening and eating, letting the conversation go.
Okay, so are you stealthily trying to do this?
Sure, why not? Let's get a roll in.
All right. No, I mean, what's your passive stealth?
My passive,
Stealth.
yeah, no. It's a 3, so yeah, no.
So
I rolled a 7. Yeah, I rolled so 13. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So your passive stealth is it's about 13.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah. What is y'all's passive perception?
12.
Oh,
13.
wow. Mods is pretty high. Let me see. Yeah, it's 15 passive perception.
Okay, Flint, what'd you say yours was?
12.
So Flint may not necessarily notice, but the other ones do, as Rolf kind of slides up in to this conversation that y'all are having.
But yeah, the point is we get Petra out, we go back to Whitebane and warn them of impending doom.
It's not likely. There's a chance we may not get there before Whitebane is already being burned, even if we went through the forest. Do we turn? I mean, we would have time to figure that out, but do we turn and leave? Do we go to help fight? I had brought up previously not returning to Whitebane, or perhaps having myself reported as dead or missing to be able to not return.
I don't want to go back myself.
I don't want to be the holdout for that. Perhaps there are other cities out there, but
Oh, there are definitely other cities out there. There's a number of dwarven cities and elven cities, and like he flips to the notebook where he had the like gives the map and like we could go here, and he just points to random unknown city, like on the map.
I mean, I only had really 2 people keeping me tied to Whitebane, and they're gone. You know, there's no point in me returning. Plus, I not exactly fulfilled my mission for the church, and you know,
so far.
I don't want the friends and family there, despite those ruling Whitebane or leading Whitebane. I do think that we should try to warn them. My hesitation is getting there before the army unnoticed, and going through the woods is dangerous. Roth, what do you think? If there's an undead army marching on Whitebane that should arrive there sometime tomorrow, what should we do? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, Flint snaps his head directly at Rolf like a snake.
Get the army to follow you into the woods and let the deity in the woods take care of them.
It's a sound plan, but how are we going to get that to happen?
They're looking, is the thing looking for us?
The spirit's not looking for us, but it would, if we're in its domain.
But is that army looking for us?
Oh, yes, the army is looking for us.
Well, apparently he talked to Baylock, who said apparently he was looking for strangers. Baylock said there wasn't anyone. Go try elsewhere, and okay, let's go to Whitebane.
Well, if we show up behind it, close to the forest, get its attention, go into the forest. The deity in the forest told us not to cut anything that goes in there. It'll take care of it, unless the deity in this. Did Petra call this something like a knight or something like that, or this army undead? Unless they have an agreement, then I think that deity is going to take care of that, right? Or at least knock it down a peg.
In the first exposure to all of the blood, like the blood flowers, was it creating undead, or was it just blooming from the dead bodies?
You kind of got the impression that it was blooming from the dead bodies, that it was a how do I put it, like the corpse flowers were essentially utilizing the bodies as a vehicle.
Yep. All right.
So
we could that's sound. How do we but if that's the case, then we don't want to go through the woods. We would want to go and catch up to the Soul Lantern. I believe you mentioned him as the Burning Armor Man. Flint. We would want to catch up to them.
If we can get horses, follow them along the forest, get their attention, have them follow us into the forest. I mean, there's a lot of ifs, and then make our way through the forest to be able to get to unless we just cut through the forest, and our chances with that, get there, then the army sees us, and then we go into the forest. But it's going to have this city in sight, so that's not exactly luring. But if we come up behind it, I don't know. There's a lot of ifs in this.
There is. The real question is, do we take action now and leave, or do we wait to see if the Blight Duchess is going to come here because of our actions? Do we stay here to help with any repercussions, or do we go to save Whitebane?
Well, we're still beaten up from that little encounter from that Duchess. I think we need, unfortunately, if we push on now, I don't know what kind of, we're not going to be able to get any rest. We're not going to be able to recover. We're going to be at a disadvantage.
So my proposal, and Flint and I had talked about that as well. My proposal then is that I try to see if I can, in the cover of the rain and everything, that we go and try to retrieve horses or find horses. Perhaps there's some here that we could barter. And then we take out first thing in the morning, but we get rest. And then we take out and ride hard and try to make it in a single day, or make it recognizing that it is very likely that the army will have already been there.
The other thing is we need to take Petra with us.
It does. If we leave in the morning, it gives us a night to take Petra to convince him to come with us and leave this joyful, happy moment. He says, very just like he's forcing the words out of his mouth.
Flint's like, it's not joyful. It's a sham.
Oh yeah. No, it absolutely is. I have seen, I don't think I've seen worse performances at the tavern on open stage night than what is happening up there.
It's a sham, and it's a petty game of one-upsmanship.
But the problem is that gives them one night to murder each other. Who's going to kill who first?
We could kill Serena.
That's a good way to make sure that the Blight Duchess destroys this village. I would not advise that. She is possibly the only thing that could prevent this village from being destroyed by the Blight Duchess.
On top of that, she isn't just.
Then we need to tell Petra that despite whatever plan he has in mind, don't fucking kill Serena.
Something you can share with Petra is if we're going after this army, we can make sure that whatever that army left over, if it's not destroyed, or at least we give the impression that the army is going to come back here looking for us and destroy this, if anything have happened to Petra in the night.
We could also say, to fulfill his mission to convince Petra that this is a lot of it's undead and these people need to be led back on the path to, whatever his decree is.
Returning to peace and death instead of...
Since he failed in the city.
Yeah. All right. I'll talk to Petra and see what I can convince him of.
I mean, murder is a good, in some places, I'm not familiar, but I've been told stories in the barracks that murders, married couples, I don't know, it's just not good either way.
Yeah.
But
wow, so eloquent. No wonder you hadn't married, Rolf.
I'm not I'm not married material, but I'm okay with that.
How to insult people in 5 words or less.
Einar is going to grab his drink and start to...
Don't screw up, Einar.
Starts to go up.
You've got this.
He starts to go up, and as he does, he actually sinks into a performance of... he starts to imagine the stories of the drunken people doing things inside of a drunken state to taking on like a form of expertise that is sloppy yet effective. And he starts to sink into that as he starts to walk up there and starts to sway and starts to, as he goes up and he goes, Petra, cheers. And he, waves at them both and drinks.
Cheers.
He goes, I've known Petra for a long time, and we should really discuss some things to the side before your wedding night. Is this the wedding night? Is there a wedding to be planned? Like, this is, we're honoring an amazing man, and I feel as though the wedding commencing so soon would be early, but I would like to discuss some things if we may, to make sure that we plan accordingly. And he's just like looking at both of them just to gauge a reaction, but still like looking at both of them by kind of swaggering, like swaying a little bit.
So he turns and he looks at Serena, and then he's just like, if you'll excuse me for a moment, my dear, as he stands up and walks over to Einor. What is it that you wish to discuss with me?
And he makes sure that he keeps his body kind of moving, but as he leans in, he switches from that glib tone to there is likely an undead army marching on Whitebane, and we want to take off in the morning after we've rested and recovered. But we don't want to leave this place defenseless against the Blight Duchess, and we want to make sure that they have a leader that is respected. But we also want you to come with us to Whitebane so that we can resolve that situation, put some dead to rest properly. And then there's still your mission that I have committed to joining you on, that we need to undertake as well. What is your plan?
Oh, I have my plans and my machinations. However, where did you hear this? On what authority did you hear that an undead army is marching on Whitebane?
The man with the soul lantern, the burnt armor man that came through here looking for us. There was a child that Flint talked to, or a teen that Flint talked to, that overheard the conversation and said that the burnt armor man was going to Whitebane to find us.
Garloth.
Garloth, yes, Garloth.
You see him kind of go into like almost a contemplation, like he's weighing whether or not going back there is going to be beneficial to what he's trying to accomplish. Well,
I'll let you think on that, but if we were to get there quickly, we would need horses, which means either retrieving ours tonight in the rain, or if there are some in the village that we can barter or acquire as well. And those horses will be ridden hard to try to get there.
very well. I'll see what I can do.
And don't do anything too risky for yourself or for the village, perhaps. I know you can't, I know you won't answer me directly, which is fine. But just, there's a lot of machinations at play. We need to keep as many people alive as possible for now, I think.
He just kind of side eyes you slightly, smirks a little bit, and then goes back to sitting next to Serena.
And Einor will just like pivot on his heel and half like fall over and then catch himself and then go back over to the table and sit back down and goes, I think we have us a plan, like just very loudly, like, I think we have us a plan. And he just looks at Raw and like saying it as if like insinuating something that's hasn't been part of the conversation at all. And then kind of like sets his head down a little bit until like everybody's like, okay, that was loud and weird. And then like, oh, okay, he's a little drunk. And then he's going to help us get the horses. He's hopefully not going to do anything stupid, and he'll let us know if he's going to join us or not.
Okay.
Did tell him he's allowed to defend himself if something happens to. Oh wait, it's Petra. He
I think
wouldn't.
Petra will be fine.
Yeah.
I've told him, I said to make sure that, he takes care of himself and doesn't do anything risky, but,
Mhm.
Petra has a different view on the world than myself, at least. So we'll see. Hopefully they both survive the night.
Hopefully we survive the night.
Hopefully the village survives tomorrow.
Mhm.
So, what do you do with the rest of the evening?
It's gonna probably read whatever book, much of his book he can, and he's gonna go to bed.
Okay.
We should probably do shifts to make sure no one kills us in our sleep,
That works too.
or attempt to kill us in our sleep, I should say.
Agreed.
We should probably keep an eye on where Petra is sleeping as well. Maybe we should insist that Petra doesn't sleep in the same chamber as Serena, some sort of tradition, whatnot.
I mean, they're technically not married, so we could, if someone has to be the bad guy, I guess I can do that. I can say I'm uncomfortable with the idea of blah, blah, blah being Mr. Paladin. Ooh.
Using your position as a paladin to demand sway. I thought I knew you, Flint. And there's just a little bit of a smirk.
Isn't it a bad luck too to see the bride before the ceremony?
I think it's a day of thing.
They don't have a ceremony planned, which makes Flint's idea even better. They shouldn't sleep in the same place together.
Also, if we really want to hold it out, I can do the ceremony and we can hold off on that as much. And I can even possibly use that as a bargaining chip to be like, if you want the ceremony to be official and in blessed in the eyes of the firstborn, I mean the gods, then you'll do this.
Who are these firstborn that you keep mentioning?
They're the old dragons. They're not dead like everyone thinks they are. They're out there
Be
somewhere.
careful with him.
And I'm going to find him.
That sounds fantastic. How does the book does the book say that they're still alive?
He nods.
Oh, I have much to learn from you. What? And he looks. He goes, no.
We can talk about this
We
later.
can talk about this later. Yes,
we have pressing
composing
matters
himself.
at hand. Part of the reason why I wanted to go back to Whitebane was to see if there's any more information to possibly match up and look through this.
Oh, and Einor, you would know that there are many scrolls about the legends and warnings about the dragons.
Yep. I will intentionally never bring up the warnings. Like that's no. I know where they're at in the library. I know where we can get more information on these. That sounds good. Which means we need to get there before at least the library is burned.
Okay. Then we should rest up now, but do we want to wait for Petra to try to get us horses first before we go to him, or do we want to wait?
If we're going to be taking watch, then he can let whoever is on watch know. Give him the night, give him some time to come to rest. But I think we should start resting soon.
Okay. So then Flint will get up a chair, walk over to the lovely couple, and it's like, Petra, a word, please.
Petra is just looks, and he just goes, speak.
Well, seeing as the marriage is not official between you two, I feel that tonight, as we get some rest, you should be close with us. We should be, as opposed to being the same bed as your bride to be. You were not married, and they're the gods to look down upon such activities and intimacy before it happens. I mean, we would want to make sure that this union is blessed and because you're not just doing this for yourselves, you're doing this for the whole village.
Petra kind of like gives a side grin, and Serena's just like, your ways do not matter to me. That is irrelevant. This is my village now, with my ways, and our culture is the one that you shall adhere to. Petra looks and says, my dear, his ways are similar to mine. And do you not respect my ways? Do you not respect the ways of your potential groom? He is correct, and we must protect the sanctity of that ceremony. I shall stay with my companions this evening, but do not worry. We shall have our agreement and our arrangement fulfilled.
And as an added bonus, when you do decide to have the ceremony, I would be happy to perform it to you. Be happy to officially bless this union.
She says, we will be married at dawn, my love. And Petra just kind of goes, at dawn it is.
Well, find us when you're ready to rest, Flint says as he walks away. And he's gonna look at the others and just kind of like this, kind of clenches fists a little bit too.
Okay.
Sits down, just whispers, child. He's like, not Petra. Apparently she wants to be married at dawn.
Well, that means we don't have to worry about either of them passing in their sleep then.
Nope.
Should leave right before dawn then.
We should rest now.
So what would you like to do?
Get some rest.
Go rest.
Get a rest with
Yep.
watching, with watches.
Get a good 8 hours of sleep.
Nope.
All right. So as our group beds down to take their long rest for the evening, I think that is also where we're going to take our break for today. Stick around. We'll be back in about 5 to 10 minutes. Grab your water, grab your snacks, and we'll see what happens.
Grab your pitchforks.
Grab your pitchforks. Well, no, don't grab your pitchforks. But I mean, we're not burning a city to the ground today.
Aw.
Aw. Aw.
It might be-
Dad. Grab your snacks. Grab your snacks, friends. Stand up, stretch, all that. Grab your water, fill your water bottles, and we'll be back in about 5 to 10 minutes. Stick around. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you got your snacks. I hope you got your stretch. I hope you got your water. Yep. See, look at that. We're ready to go. Right for the second half of today's episode of Champions of Eclypsia. Our group is sitting in a long rest. Many things have happened. Much has been discussed. Now it's time for them to make a decision. They realize they must make their way back to Whitebane. But how they make their way back to Whitebane and with whom is the key question. So, our stalwart, intrepid adventurers, agents of the reclamation regiments, people of the mist of the web of the weavers, and paladin of the firstborn. What is your choice? How are you going to make your way back to Whitebane?
So Einor pulls open where he's copied down the map and lays it out and says the fastest route, if we can skirt between, the woods are fast but risky. Otherwise, we're going through wow, I'm just going to butcher that name. Farendale. If we go through Farendale, we run into different sort of spirits and or any lingering undead that are there. I think if we cut through and cut between the woods and Farendale, that we could start to try to make that path. And it's not the fastest, it's not the most direct path, but it is the one that would allow us to be able to get to Whitebane with the least amount of risk, the fastest. And if the army's moving slower than what I predicted, then we may be able to see them in front of us because we'll be not far from the path that they would take from Farendale to Whitebane. And we could drag them into the forest from there.
Yes. And it's further away, depending on where they're at, how close to Farendale they are, or how close they are to Whitebane. We can, if they're closer to the Whitebane, the task of getting them into the forest is going to be much more difficult. But depending on how slow that army is the question. What does the plan? This sounds like it's dangerous, but sounds like one of the better plans we have instead of rushing through the forest and being potentially attacked, devoured, hurt by the entities of the forest that told us to stay out. What does everyone think?
Petra basically says that he recognizes that both represent their dangers. So whichever the rest of you decide is the route that he is willing to accept.
Would it be possible, Petra, with your newfound influence, to perhaps bring the village with us? It would cause us to move slower, so we would want a scouting party in advance, though. So a forward group. And he looks at Roth like, that's the right term, right?
Yes, but I'm not sure if that's the right course of action. I think they need to stay here for whatever.
We also did contend with Serena for that one. She's not just going to let her people go. She very much sees this village as her own personal kingdom, much like a child does her own, playroom.
On top of the fact that she's made some sort of pacts and things like that, she's got her own power stuff. She is not, Marcus said not to trifle with her.
What sort of power does she have? Einor flips open a book. Already has her name and like just stuff written down.
Didn't give me details, but there was talk of she might try and suck Petra's soul out.
That's definitely not something that that shifters or were creatures do. And he jots down powerful and sucks soul out in his book.
I don't know why, but I just imagine Einor's keeping like almost putting in like a challenge rating after each thing that he encounters. Right.
Einor's our red mage from Final Fantasy XIV.
Yes.
Right.
Mhm.
He's just readily like creating his own monster manual as he goes.
100%. That's
Love it.
exactly.
But it's now what he is doing. Love it.
Now, correct me, I missed some of the conversations you were having. You seemed quite intense. We have the Blight Queen, who may or may not be connected to this place that we're at. The Gorloth is on his way to potentially destroy Whitebane. If our plan is successful, there's a high probability it won't destroy his army, but at least it will not get to a point where it may not be as effective, at which point it might fundamentally shift some of the power in this area. And we probably sounds like there's maybe a power struggle between the Blight Queen and this Gorloth, or are they allies?
It sounded like Garloth had a mutual understanding that with the village, and then he but I don't know that he had anything specific with the Blight Queen. And then he looks at Flint.
It may be, I wasn't told anything about that, but it may be why Garloth hasn't, sacked this place and taken everybody's own souls. It's because if he does, that'll anger the Blight Queen and force a confrontation.
Do we?
So, if the people are under the Blight Queen's protection, and if this Garloth doesn't wish to incite the Blight King or the Blight Duchess's wrath, maybe we take some villagers as shields. Petra just kind of mutters.
Flint kind of nods. Yeah.
As long as they don't end up being sacrifices to the corrupted forest spirit.
Meet their end when it's their time.
Not sure if that's if warriors wanted to join us, but to use them as human shields is not, seems cowardly.
I agree with Rolf on this one. Perhaps we take those who are willing to fight. Maybe they want more experience. Maybe they want to leave this village. And I'm not convinced that everybody wants to stay here, especially now that the power shift has gone from a fellow shifter to someone else. But
not to mention, Serena's not going to let any of her villagers go fight.
Yep.
So it makes it a little bit more difficult to say, we're going to go for a training mission. And
it doesn't hurt to ask. And he looks at Petra on that one. Could you ask her if we could, after your wedding at dawn, that we then run away?
Ask. He could convince half the village to go with him, I bet.
It's fair. Nothing comes for free. Everything's at a cost, is what he says.
Call it a wedding present. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's in that case, it may be easier just to persuade a few to join us that are soldiers. Roth, if you tell me which ones to talk to, I'll see what I can do.
You know, isn't the standard royalty needs personal guards to protect them at times? And since you're marrying into the family, shouldn't some of the villagers be your personal bodyguards or protectors if you happen to go on a sabbatical or a wedding day present to go check something out?
So one thing that you will have noticed is that when the chieftain was walking around, he didn't really have guards. Neither did Serena whenever she was walking around. She didn't really have guards either.
True. But Petra can convince them to.
Or instead of guards, aides and assistants. And of course, Petra doesn't want somebody that can't take care of themselves as an assistant. Otherwise, they are simply fodder as needed because it is their time that has come.
But again,
Yeah.
we need, our goal is to ensure their safe return. We're not leaving them to die. That I will not sign up for.
But Petra wouldn't want to take somebody that couldn't take care of themselves, is
True.
what I'm saying. It should be some whoever is the aides and assistant to Petra. And also it does benefit her to have people to keep eyes on him as well.
But I want to ensure that they will return alive, that we're not just going to abandon them if things go bad. They will be priority to ensure their return.
Agreed.
But then if we get back to Whitebane, how are you going to explain? Which brings up that's another thing we'll have to look into. And we're using them conflicted on this.
I don't like the idea of using innocents.
And we don't take them.
To ensure that we're not getting slaughtered by the army.
Or to Petra's point, if everything comes at a cost, even if we convince somebody to go with us, that we don't accrue a debt that we feel bad about.
True.
I don't want to be in debt to Serena.
I'm thinking out loud, so
Yep.
now that we talk more, yeah.
All right. I say we set up a rotation for sleep then. We don't take anybody. Let's set up our watch. Let's rest and be on our way. Whether we leave before the ceremony or after the ceremony, I'll leave that, any motions to Flint and Petra. I'll leave that to a participant and the head of ceremonies, even a master of ceremonies, if you will, to decide when we leave in the morning.
Yes, because Petra has a big day ahead of him.
You know, one thing we didn't do is a bachelor party, but we're going to have to do that later.
Exactly. Right. Once this is behind us, we can just celebrate.
Yes.
I don't think it'll ever be behind us.
All right. So you set your watch. You take your long rest. Everybody benefits from a long rest.
I have spell slots again.
Level.
You wake up as if you're suddenly re-energized, as if you hadn't slept in days.
Gosh.
GM, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Ralph's ritual that was, or I should say, the ritual that was conducted on Ralph after the main. Was there any noticeable side effects, and or what was the end result?
The end result was simply that you gained a level.
Okay, yeah, just making sure that if there was, if Rolf was acceptable of the result of the ritual, that there wasn't any funny business as he, anything like that.
No.
Okay.
There was no other sort of effects other
Okay.
than you had felt yourself growing a bit stronger.
Okay.
We'll say.
Okay. Yep. Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. So you set your watch. The night passes mostly without incident. You can hear at one point you all kind of stir awake with what sounds to be like a lot of movement outside of the hut that you're staying in, but it's nothing to be alarmed about. It doesn't sound like people fighting. It doesn't sound like anything. It just sounds like a lot of people moving around. However, you've gotten your teeth kicked in pretty hard over the past couple of days, so more or less sleep slowly returns to overtake you all. When you wake up, you come out of the hut and you notice and see that Petra is already outside of the tent. You notice and see that there are people moving about, and it appears as though things are set up for something of a wedding. Petra's not to be seen anywhere, but you see Serena. She's looking around and orchestrating people and telling them where to go, what to do to complete this ceremony. And she walks over and says, where is my husband to be?
That is a very good question. Let me.
I ate him. And then Flint stops and he chuckles. We don't know.
Let us see if we can find him. He is not the type to get cold feet. I'm sure he has something else that he is planning.
Can I? Go ahead.
And Einor's going to turn back and he's going to start using start looking for investigation and looking for footprints and that sort of stuff.
Ralph is going to start sniffing for Petra and looking at the ground.
Yeah, Flint will help Einor.
Okay.
Einor is going to learn his lesson after the last time that Flint disappeared, and he's going to start looking for a note.
You don't find a note. Rolf, I need you to make, let's see, sniffing around sounds like a survival check. I need you to make me a survival check, please.
All right, we're going with dice. So,
yeah.
Yeah, that nat 1 for an 8 just is not the range. Something Petra just, yeah. Okay,
there are
that's
too many scents that are around. That it's just overwhelming you and slightly confusing you. Yeah. And you kind of find yourself, for lack of a better term, chasing your own tail. Mm-hmm. And you can't quite make it out. Einor, are you looking around and searching as well?
Yep.
Okay.
And I got a 17 on the die, which, if it's doing a survival check, is a 19. If it's an investigation, it is 24.
Okay. So, as you're looking around and trying to take everything in, you think you see a pair of villagers shuffle off to the wood line.
I am going to go and head that direction and investigate.
Are you just going to walk over?
I am going to do it in a way that so I want to do it in a way that is not that doesn't draw suspicion, right? I'm curious, I'm going to go look around here, I'm going to cut around a corner, and then I'm going to go stealth and get then get over there. But I do want to stealth up, and I don't want anybody else in the village to be able to see that I'm heading that way.
Okay, give me a roll.
Yay, level 4. Okay. This is with a +5, so total of 19.
All right. So you manage to sneak away fairly easily, and you see them push about 100 or so feet into the wood line. And there you find Petra with 4 other members of the village. He's talking to them. He's talking about how he has had divine inspiration and how they have been elected, chosen to be the watchers over the village. He explains how the gods have chosen them to help weave the fates of this village and how they need to ensure the survival of their village. That no matter what should happen to him or Serena, that they know that their cause is just and pure.
As he kind of finishes that up, and you can tell that they're like, they're in agreement and like, yes, well, and he's recruited them in. I will. Einar comes out and steps out of the shadows of the woods. Steps in where they can see him. And he says, Petra, I need a quick conversation. There is I have received a message that we need to address.
He turns and looks at you, not like he just stares at you for a moment.
If you want, I can speak freely, or if you wish to speak in private, I will leave that to you.
You see him turn to them and go, you know what to do. And then he turns back and he walks over to you and he's just, what is it that you need, Einar?
Do you want to leave now before the ceremony, or do you wish for the ceremony to take place?
Oh, we're set to leave. I have no intentions of marrying her as such. Actually, no, that could be. I
ask because I can concoct the story that that we have received a message to that Whitebane is under attack and we have all been recalled, and that you, out of a sense of duty, left us behind, and that we, for some reason, you received a different message than, or that you left without us, and that we are going to follow because the other 3 are still in the village and you are currently being looked for. But if you wish to continue, we can catch up to you.
He goes, we should definitely go. I've concluded my business here, though Serena may become angry.
Which is more reason for me to go back and get the others, and for you to go ahead and head out and we catch up to you.
I don't think that will be necessary. He follows you back into the village, and he emerges, and you see Serena very much like, where have you been? She's noticeably angry. And like Petra just kind of smiles at her and just, is like, gives the very patronizing, I'm so sorry, I was unavoidably detained. So as you continue on,
we have received a message from Whitebane that they are under siege and have recalled all units to return post haste.
Serena looks at you. Then she just goes, how? There was no rider in the night. How would you know? How could you have received such a message?
It is a spell that is called sending. It allows us to be able to communicate back and forth with each other. It is one that the lore masters of Whitebane use for communicating in secret when knowledge is not ready for the public.
She looks at you kind of quizzically, like she doesn't want to believe you. But at the same time, she kind of also does. I want you to make a persuasion check.
Okay. Okay, that's a 5 on the die. So that's a total of a 10 on my persuasion.
She's going to roll her insight. Very well. If that is how it works with you folk of Whitebane, but the ceremony will not be put off, she says. And Petra chimes up and he goes, I've given it thought. And we shall be married, but only when a priest of my choosing, of my faith, is overseeing the ceremony. We shall ride to Whitebane and expect to see what is going on. And once it is considered safe and all clear, I will send for you, and we shall be wed, my dear. She begins to look noticeably angry at this. What do you do?
Flint kind of realizes what's going on. He looks hurt and he turns to Petra. He's like, "Excuse me, my services aren't good enough for your ceremony. I believe that you said that our beliefs and paths were similar to each other."
He just turns his head and kind of looks at you and goes, while that may be the case, we can't very well make her a widower on her wedding night, can we? Besides, he's just like, and as it stands, I still want the priest who brought me in to my faith to be the one to marry us.
Very well.
She becomes angry and whatnot, right? And he just she just stares and she goes, I will not have this. You will marry us.
Unfortunately, if I believe that the groom should have as much consent as the bride as to who marries them. And if I go against the groom's wishes, that could also be unfavorable. I'm not as thrilled about it as you are.
She says she walks over and touches Petra's face and goes, "Really, we are to be one." I need one of you to roll a d20 for me.
I rolled a 1. Oh, come on, guys. It could be good.
It's gonna be fine. Everything's fine.
Maybe I was a little hasty in the need for my desire for a priest of mine. Perhaps, Flint, yes, you can. You certainly can, in fact, wed us. And she goes, "That's what I thought."
She just charmed person, damn it.
I was gonna
rolled
say-
that one.
Don't blame me, Noir. You rolled in that one. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, Noir. What's up, Latia?
The die don't lie. The
The
die
die-
do not lie.
To be fair, that was my Desmond dice from Darkhead Dice Black Dice Society. So
Desmond. Yeah, blame
What?
Desmond then. Yeah.
The worst promotion ever.
Right? Worst promotion ever. Fail a charm check.
Okay.
All right. So with that, the ceremony is about to begin. In a few short moments, people begin to come and gather around.
Einor, as this discussion's going on,
He's
he
gonna-
walked away to go get the rope of books that he has
Yes.
Mhm.
and ties it ready for travel. And as he comes out, he sees the wedding going on, and he starts thumping the drum. And as he does, he looks at Petra and says, "Petra, we're going now." And level 2 DC 13 wisdom save from Petra versus suggestion.
Actually, you know what? I'm not going to roll it. I'm not going to roll it. One of y'all has to roll it. That is not Einor.
All right.
Hold on. I've got a D20 right here.
This is a-
D20 right.
I have
now.
to do it because I have a plan in case this doesn't work.
Did you roll an at 20? You rolled
No,
an at 20.
I rolled a 1.
Oh my gosh. All right, Flint is going to, you know what? No, and he's gonna shrug his shoulders off, and he's going to look at Petra, and he's gonna
So
punch him in. He's gonna punch him in the face.
So Petra is now under basically an 8-hour geas as long as I'm concentrating on it.
Yep.
And the order is to return to Whitebane.
Never mind.
Yeah. No, you're good. Like,
No,
it's just
because-
I was
something
like, you
because
still
I
want to
signed-
punch? You still want to punch him in the
you
face?
want to punch Petra?
Yeah, actually,
like,
I do.
that's fine.
Because
Yeah, that's
he
fine.
doesn't understand magic. He doesn't understand magic. Actually, no. I wanna. He's like, I saw this in my youth. I wanna basically grab him by the head and bring him down. I wanna RKO him.
Oh no. Okay, so you're going to make an attack against Petra.
Mhm.
Okay.
All right. I'm like, sorry, friend. It's for your own good. That is a 22.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's gonna hit the man. Yeah.
Basically,
Yeah.
just bring him down.
That's gonna hit. All right. Are you actually intending to do damage, or is this
No.
no?
This is an attempt to basically bring him to the ground.
All right. So you RKO him and bring him down, right?
Mhm.
Now, like, the rest of you are seeing this happen, right? So Maud and Rolf, what do you do as you just see Flint just straight up just bam on him?
I was not expecting this, Rolf. Were you expecting this?
I was expecting something, but not this. That's why I'm ready for and watching everything else. But we just pick them up and
You
put
have
them on a
lot
horse.
You have a lot of stunned people right now.
Mod originally was going to be casting calm emotions.
You might still need to do that. And Ralph steps up. Flint. Petra. Now. Hands off. Come here. And is very authoritarian, very reclamation commands.
Give
Flint
me an
grabs-
intimidation check.
Oh God, intimidation. Not my strong suit. A 21.
Ooh,
Okay.
not a nat one. Yay.
All right. 21. Okay. Flint, do you resist this?
I mean, he's gonna bring up Petra and he's gonna listen to Rolf. He's gonna bring up Petra. He's like, but he's also gonna look at Rolf and say, "You're not the boss of me." Soft skin. He brings Petra with him.
Petra's kind of like slightly dazed. And where are you going?
I mean, we're bringing him to Rolf. It's like, I look at him like, we got to get him out of here.
What do you do? Rolf?
Ralph is just kind of giving him a stern look after that comment, and I'm just like waiting for him to come and bring Petra. And I'm like, Ralph gets on the horse until it gives Maud the look of like, it's time to get on the horse.
Mod's not questioning. Mod's just going. It's like, yes, I'm captain. Nothing to fret.
You hear Serena going, "Where are you going with my husband?"
You're not married. One says, as he gets on his own horse, assuming there's one for
We
him.
just ride out, all
Yeah.
of us together,
Yeah, we're
not
going.
married.
Like, enough. Yes.
I love this. This is perfect.
Ralph's off.
This is ridiculous, and we're just going.
Yeah. I'm concentrating on this spell and maintaining it. You see a little bit of like, as he's getting on the horse, you see a little bit of honey where he's bitten onto a honeycomb, like dripping out of his mouth from the spell. But otherwise, like, he's focused on this spell and maintaining the suggestion, which is stronger than the charm. Well, potentially stronger than charm, because I don't know what this crazy lady has, but I know it thinks it's stronger.
So she's like screaming, like, "What are you doing?" And you see a handful of villagers who think you're trying to essentially kidnap the groom from the wedding, right? Like, they kind of get in your path a little bit. Like, what are you doing?
We're leaving to protect our home, just as you protect yours. Petra has said that he will send once he knows it is safe. But would you rather him marry and then make her a widower on her wedding day? If you want her to be a widow on the same day that she is married and have another grieving feast of life, then I'm still not okay with that. We're not okay with this. We need to go protect our home.
I'm casting calm emotions in like the 20 radius around Serena. So the people that are right near her and her freaking out and all that.
Go ahead. Is it a save or is it an offensive cast?
It's a charisma saving throw.
Of?
Hold on 1 second. New spells. Yay. New spells. Who dis? Yeah, spell save DC is 15.
All right. Are you actively casting it on Serena?
Well, it's a radius spell, so I have it just centered on her. It's not like
Okay.
not just her, but it's her and anyone in a 20-foot bubble around her.
Said 15?
Yeah.
Okay. Serena is still outraged. She's like, what? And everybody around her is immediately coming to her and trying to like, no, calm down. They're making a lot of sense. It's okay. They're very calm, like, you know, that whole like they're calm. So they see her as being irrational now.
Yeah.
So they're trying to calm her down.
This is what I wanted.
The individuals in front of you seeing what's going on are like, oh, that kind of does make sense a little bit, and kind of get like kind of part ways. Rolf and going.
And we're going.
And I'm going. Ralph's not waiting for them. He's going to kind of make sure that they try to catch up to him.
Yeah, she is continuing that and she's keeping the eye contact kind of in that area, just following suit until we can get out of range, because she is trying to keep the concentration.
Okay, fair enough. All right, sounds good. So you ride out. Which direction are you going?
We're heading south. Once we cross the bridge, not about to take this without crossing the bridge. Once we cross the bridge, we're going to cut between Farendel and the woods.
So you're going to take the Black Forest route.
Well, we're going.
We're edging it.
Yeah, so we're edging the Black Forest, so we don't go into it. But we're still like there's that weird are
you going so looking at the map, are you going by way of Farendel or are you going by way of the Black Wood or the Black Forest?
We are cutting on the edge of where Farendel and the Black Woods. We're going on that edge.
Okay.
We are not going into the woods. If we have to make a choice, we are going through the edge of Farendel.
Okay. All right. And who is leading?
I'm assuming Rolf.
Rolf.
I will be also looking for the tracks, and I mean it's an army, so he's following.
Give me a survival check.
All right, here, come on, die. 16.
16. Okay, so you're able to navigate the roadway and off to the side, skirting around Farendel. And as you approach Farendel, right, because it's only a couple of hours ride. As you approach Farendel, you notice how it's almost quieter than it was before. You realize that you could literally shave off almost an hour if you ride through Farendel versus around it. Do you continue to go around and skirt the Black Wood, or do you ride through Farendel?
Oh, what do we remember about Farendel?
Well, that was the city with the sword and city with the dude.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the city with all the souls that had not been returned.
That had not been returned and everything else. Yeah, we're going around it.
Yep.
Okay, so you're going to take the additional hour to go around it. All
Yep. I don't want to because whatever's left over. Nope.
All right.
We'll ride harder.
Do that race against time. I get it. I feel it. All right. As you're right, I need you to give me another survival check.
All right, come on, Die. Come on. We can do it. 10. My dice are not being happy with me today.
Can I use the map and my survival to lend assistance to Roth or course correct as needed? whether advantage or roll in on my own?
No, so the thing is basically now you're all going to have to make you are all going to have to make animal handling checks.
Gotcha.
Because Rolf is kind of like so to explain how this is working, right, is that Rolf is guiding you all, right? So Rolf is like, oh, he got a 10. Yes, he's getting there, but it's not taking the smoothest path, right? So now your animals are kind of, you're having to make these animal handling checks to make sure that they don't buck you or anything along those lines because you're not taking the smoothest and easiest path.
Right. Animal handling check.
Flint got a 16.
Flint's good.
18.
Rolf is good.
14.
Maud is good.
16.
Okay. Einor is good. As you're riding, you kind of come off of the path a little bit and you start going around the city. And as you were going around the city, you notice the stillness. Where once before, especially Maud, and even Petra comments on it. You don't see the slight specters moving around.
He took them. He took them all.
The city very much truly feels dead. Not even dead. The city feels almost as if it's void.
We should give rights or something when we come back through later.
Agreed.
Yes.
We need to get that lantern from that terrible person.
Got it.
I know Petra, and Einor looks over at Petra and says, I'm sorry we weren't able to put the souls to rest before they were gathered. We'll correct this as much as we can.
Petra just kind of like looks at the city and then goes back to looking forward and riding. Give me another survival check, please.
Nat 20 for 27.
Sweet.
Finally, a nat 20 somewhere.
Somewhere in the positive realm.
just took us 3 nat ones to get there.
Yeah,
Not a whole lot. You're riding along, you're riding hard or whatnot, trying to remember, trying to piece together in this world of, perpetual night. Everything kind of looks the same, but looks different as you're going, riding hard. You find your trail. You're like, yes, I know where I'm at. I know where we're going. This is what's happening, right? All those instincts of it. You're so confident. You start to feel like you did when you were younger and you were going out on your first ride. And you remember what it felt like to go out on your first ride. And you're looking to your left and to your right, and you see Einor, you see Maud, you see Flint, you see Petra, and then you blink for a couple of minutes, and then you swear you hear the laughter and the cackles and the joy of your first unit that you rode out with. And for once in a very long time, you start to feel that very boast of confidence within yourself. You're like, I know what I'm doing. And then in that same instance of feeling good, you're feeling good again. You look up and you see the outline of Rotwood Outpost and the harsh reality of where you are and what's going on around you begins to sink in yet again as you begin to close on the Rotwood Outpost. You can't help but feel that same feeling that we all feel when we're riding around or when we're out. It takes forever to get to where we're going, but somehow it's so much faster when we're getting home. Mm-hmm. And that feeling of I'm almost there. I see that location. I know that location, right? We don't have a wagon slowing us down. It's just us, our steeds, making our way to get back to where we're going. You come up to Rotwood. I need you all to make perception checks.
Mm-hmm.
That is a 15 for Flint.
Okay.
13 for Einor.
23 for Mod.
All right.
Not a nat 20, but you get it.
Ralph was reminiscing quite a bit and realizing all the landmarks that he now knows. And that one landmark sinks in his gut as he remembers the night of survival was along that route. And he's distracted by focusing on the path that him and Maud had taken to survive that one night. Hence the nat 1 I just rolled for a 6.
Maud, you notice the gates of Rotwood are not closed.
They're not closed.
You see forms moving along the wall.
Are they human or
They're humanoid shaped.
she hands she's riding along next to Rolf, and she reaches out with like one of those candies, the sweeties.
What? All right. Yes. We can. And
There's people
what do you mean there's people?
at the garrison.
What?
I don't know.
Keep in mind, you're riding hard.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of quiet that's happening right now.
And she's kind of I was quiet because I'm quiet, but
Yeah.
but you get it. There's people there.
How?
The gate's open.
Okay. Quick question,
Mhm.
Kurt. How far wasn't this inside the Black Forest?
The Rotwood,
Yeah.
its gates are not in the Black Forest. Its gates sit facing the outer edge of the Black Forest, right?
Okay.
But the rest, like once you go into the gates,
Mhm.
the outpost carves out a small section of the Black Forest.
Got it. And the tracks of the army,
Mhm.
have they? What are we still visibly seeing them? And
You're
did they
you're still seeing them, yes, but you are
And-
moving at such a pace you're not going to be able to tell whether or not they are veered towards it, like towards Rotwood, or not. Now, if you wish to slow your advance,
Yeah, Roth would slow down to figure out what's going on if it went, because he's more, at this time he's figuring out where that army is, because we're past and he wants to figure out where the army is. And then now the fact that the doors are open, seeing what's going on there.
okay.
How long have we been riding?
You've been riding for approximately half a day of hard riding.
As Roth starts to slow down, I will stop concentrating on my suggestion so Petra does not continue on at full speed.
Okay. Petra kind of stops, blinks, looks around, like, and then his eyes kind of squint slightly. And though it's difficult to see one another in this darkness that is the open area, Einor, you very much feel him looking at you.
I just pretend that I don't. I try not. I put on a performance that I'm not reacting to it, but internally I feel bad, but not sorry at the same time.
Fair. You begin riding up, right, at a slower pace. You see the outpost, and you see forms there. The sunstones, as you get closer, are glowing, but dim. What do you do?
Look at Roth.
I'm looking. I'm trying to see if there's again if the army is heading towards Whitebane or if it moved towards this outpost.
So the road like basically the outpost, right, sits off of that road, right? So like there's no matter what, that army would have swung by. Whether or not they went inside is a totally different thing.
Do you want me to scout it out?
Let's not. He's like, we all will to stay together, and we'll scout out the outpost.
All right. You make your way. Yep. Everybody. All right. We're all making our way. Towards the outpost. As you get closer, you see and you can make out that these are regular folk. And they're you hear a shout of who goes there?
Reclamation. Who's at the fort?
As you ride closer, the gates open up, right? And you see a handful of sunstones on the ends of sticks, right? And they come out holding them up, looking to see who's there. As you ride up and you slow down to see what's going on, you see the familiar green and blues of the Reclamation Regiment. And from what you can see where you're at, it looks like the outpost has been reinforced.
Who's in charge? We have who's in charge? We've got some very important information. Doom is coming.
Doom? Colonel Richardson.
Get him out here now. And what are you doing? Why is this outpost? Ralph. Vasra Ralph. Special Commission. Reclamation Army. Mission. Move, fool, move.
He looks ably confused, but like at the barking of it, he's just kind of and he just starts moving, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know, just kind of shouts, please, as he goes running off.
And Maud just laughs at that.
After a few moments, right, you hear some waking noises. You hear more and more people moving, right? And then after a few minutes, a man that you recognize, Colonel Richardson, comes out, and he looks to you and he goes, Lieutenant Rolfe, why are you here? Were you successful in your mission?
Yes, but unfortunately, we have pressing matters. An army of the dead is on its way to Whitebane. And also, this fort is cursed with the forest deity.
What? We've been here for the better part of a week. What are you speaking of?
When we first came here, the captain that was here, all were lost. Did you not find it empty when you got here?
Wasn't this the captain?
No.
No.
We retook this fort a week ago from some sort of whites and various, botanical creatures of some kind. But we held this fort for a week. Where have you been?
North of Fennendale. And there's a lot to unpack. The forest deity with the plants that you fought, she controls them.
My orders are to stand to this post and maintain that it is here. What do you mean? What army are you saying marches on Whitebane?
And I look over at Athos. What is the name of this army of the dead that is coming here? Please, Anor, explain to the Colonel.
Garloth, he has an undead army that is with him. He wears armor that has been burned, and he travels with him this army that we saw in Ferendale.
Yep.
We managed to avoid it, but it looked as though he was marching this direction.
You literally just hear it. You just see him kind of go, if an army marched past this outpost, I'm fairly certain we would know it.
Then they went back to Ferendale.
Well,
when we have seen him, we should still go to Whitebane.
We should.
perhaps our assumptions on their direction and their intent is wrong. Sorry to have alarmed you. And Einor looks
Insight
back
check.
at Rolf.
Yeah. Flint made an insight check too, got a 17. See
Okay.
if this guy's telling the truth. And
Okay.
Mine got a 10 on that.
Okay.
Insight check.
Flint, your insight check, you're collecting a surface thoughts on him. He's not angry, but
Mhm.
he is both confused and slightly scared.
yeah, he's telling the truth. We should get to Whitebane.
Try to persuade, like alleviate fears of just like, we might be overreacting. If you haven't seen anybody, then perhaps they turned off and went a different direction, which is
Okay.
good.
But I would strongly suggest spotters, scouts, to ensure that if something is coming, that you can send a rider to Whitebane immediately.
All that matters is if you were successful in your mission. Were you successful in your mission?
Yes, but
Did you recover the map?
yes, but it isn't. But due to our success, there's a potential army coming this way. Be prepared for it. If it's not coming, then no need not to be prepared.
He literally says, right on then. And he turns around, he goes, seal the gates. And like as he's closing, the gates literally slam shut. And you can hear like heavy logs
Mhm.
being put in place to bar the gate.
Ralph's like, fools in their death, and turns around and off to wait.
You right on?
All right. You begin riding once again, hard and fast. I need you all to give me perception checks.
14 for Flint.
Okay.
24.
Okay.
Einor is exceptionally busy trying to stay on the horse and recalling all of the tactics and the footprints and trying to figure out where his assumptions went wrong with a 9 perception.
Okay. As you're riding on, Rolf, you once
Yes.
again begin to see the trail
Mm-hmm.
of this army that was there, that's been moving across here. As you look up, you begin to see a faint glow in the distance, just off the horizon. Riding hard and fast, picking up the pace, you all catch scent of burning wood. The closer you get, the more the glow grows. And just as you crest a final hill that would allow you to look down into the ravine where Whitebane sits, you see massive ballista with what amounts to cabers for bolts set aflame and being launched at Whitebane. and the city is under siege. And that's where we're going to wrap it up today because we don't have war. Hi, friends. I want to thank everybody for sticking with us today and getting us here and seeing all the things that have happened. Some cool little Easter eggs or some cool little eggs have been dropped. What is going on? What is happening? Oh, it's going to be so good. So juicy. But I'm digging it. I'm loving it. I'm having such a blast with this crew. Let's go around. Let's get some reactions. Let's see what's happening. What's happening with the folks, huh? Nikki, how you doing? What you think?
I'm doing good. They can't burn the city down. Only Mod can burn the city down. That's not fair. That's cheating.
Is it?
But it's also why don't the people at the garrison know that that's happening? And how did that happen? Hi.
Hi.
I'm gasped. I'm just
Gasp.
flabbered and gasped.
Okay. Well, she's gasped, ladies and gentlemen. How about you tell us where we can find you, what you're doing, and what's new for you, huh?
Well, you could find me on my Twitter at the Squishy Bear. I am also DMing my Werewolf the Apocalypse Phoenix Call Season 2 on McStabber Studios, and that is Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. And we are on episode 3 coming up. The episode before that, the title was Babies on Fire. If that tells you anything.
I'm hoping it's in referring to the Adverts song, babies on fire. Not like an actual baby on fire. That would be bad.
Hey, you get it. You get it. All of my titles are named after songs titles. That's kind of my thing. You'll find me here. I might be also in May playing a one shot of Extreme Bro Hunters. It's like a Ghost Hunters thing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Keep us posted on that one.
I will. And also, if you love the art here, Brian F. and Patterson, D20 Monkey himself, drew all these lovely icons for us. Please.
He's a good dude.
He is a cool dude. He deserves your like, your follow, your subscribes. And also, if you need art done, please commission him. He's great.
Yeah. I can tell you firsthand, he's a pretty cool dude. He's a pretty cool dude. Joshua, what's new, bud? How you doing? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I like the I appreciate Nikki's my flabber has not been disgusted in quite a while. So I not surprised to come to see Whitebane burning. Just surprised that we care this much. It'll be interesting to see what we do. Going from I never want to return to now we need to save it, or more specifically save the people inside of it. I love
Rolf can be very persuasive.
It's true. It's true. Also, there's innocent people. Like there's family and friends that don't deserve to burn.
Your favorite tavern, your favorite book is still sitting in that library.
It's true. It's so true. Yeah, so I'm Joshua Rao. For those who don't know me, you can follow me out on Twitter, on JRail Tech on Twitter. I stream Phasmophobia, horror games. This past week was a couple of kind of chill, relaxing games like Wingspan. So you can follow me here on Twitch or follow me on Twitch under Gintu Penguin. And yeah, that's kind of my normal gig right now. Talking about con season, planning out the conventions, trying to plan any sort of special games or special arrangements with other people, but unfortunately nothing's set in stone enough still. Getting closer to being able to talk about some stuff, but yeah.
Sweet. All right. Jay, we're going to save you for last.
Okay. No worries.
For last. I want to know Al, what are you thinking?
Thinking pretty good. Excited to see where things going, and this potential siege, who comes out on top, who does what.
Right.
I'm LS Rights. You can find me on the Twitters. Don't forget to redeem your Idle Champions code. This week is time gate weekend. You can potentially unlock some champions, new champions to your formation. So
that is a fact. Get your code. Use your code. It's awesome. Get your free stuff. I mean, who doesn't love free stuff, right? Free chest. Free chest.
Free chest.
Right? Who doesn't want a free chest, right?
Yep.
All right. All right. And you know what? Running out with Jay. Jay, buddy, what are you thinking?
I'm having fun. Ralph is definitely trying to figure things out. He's so far 2 of his companions have told him to they're not going to listen to him. So there might be some rank issue of listening. So he only concerned about Mod right now. Maybe I know her. We'll see how that goes. But dig in how this is going to go, and what fate we're going to be seeing. So I'm looking forward to what you got planned for us. What you got planned for us?
I got notes.
Yes. Hello, everyone. I'm Jay, also known as Neopet3 in the socials. You can find me. I've got a few things in the works. Some I can talk about, some I think I can't. But one thing I am a Star Wars RPG GM for Shadowport Adventures, which is on hiatus right now. But there's a few things coming in the future, a long campaign and some other things in development. One thing I do want to share real quick before we get to the other announcement is Jasper's Game Week, which is in the May 9th through the 13th. You can bid on right now on some wonderful games that are happening, including certain individuals that we all know and love. You can play on their games and bid for them. And then the Aussie edition is from the 15th to the 20th, which you can also bid on through Jasper's Game Day website. I might be in some of them because I'm bidding on a few games, so you might see my face around there. So that's what I'm hoping gonna be happening soon.
Heck yes.
Because our own Satine Phoenix will be jamming a game there.
That is right. That is 100% right.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of the Queen of D&D herself, I would like to thank her. I would like to thank all the hardworking people at Gilding Light. I would like to thank the wonderful, amazing man of the internet that is DC Lasser, who runs our tech, who makes all things happen. Our Time Lord, our man himself. Hit the DC button. There it is. There it goes. Woo! See right there. You can't see him, but there's all the stuff. You need to give him a like. You need to give him a follow. You need to go check out all his stuff. And I'm here to tell you, if you're a work at home person, right? Turn his stream on during the work day. He has the easiest voice to listen to while you are working. You will be productive. I'm here to tell you, he'll be that perfect coworker in the office. It's just kind of like, yep, there you go. And just packing away while you're getting your stuff done. But past that, I would like to thank our sponsors over at Idle Champions for providing us these sweet codes to help us get all this free stuff. And if you're feeling generous and have the ability, give us one of those sweet subscriptions. If you got a Prime subscription, give us Jeff Bezos money. Why not? Right? Because reasons. It helps us keep the lights on. It helps us keep making stuff like this because the breakdown of running shows is insane. But that being said, I want to thank everybody else who is here and everybody else who is with us. And thank you all so very much for sticking with us. We will be back next week. We will have Noir back with us next week, and we're going to see what's going to happen with this siege. No, DC, thank you for reminding me. I didn't plug myself because I'm actually really horrible about doing that stuff. I am Kurt Vanettis. You can find me everywhere there. I am also known as Covenant the Horrible Alchemist. Outside of this thing, I stream sporadically because it depends upon whether or not I get a mountain of stuff. There's things that are being worked on with our boy Jay there that we're making happen, right? So watch next week for some announcements regarding that stuff. Big stuff. But you can find me over on my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/Covenant, spelled with a K, a U, a VENET. Tuesday is Alien Day, International Alien Day. That's right. I'm one of those weirdos. So
Wow.
you're gonna fucking LV 426, right? 426. That's what's gonna happen. So I am doing an all-day stream on Tuesday. We're gonna be playing Alien Isolation. We're gonna be playing probably Fire Team, probably by myself because I don't know anybody else who has Fire Team. But that's regardless. It's still fun, right? And we're gonna do all kinds of stuff that's alien based because reasons. Past that, we have shows coming up on Gilding Light that you definitely need to check out. We have Tuesday with action-packed Tales of Astoria. It's a Tuesday night show. I recommend giving it a watch. Tony and that crew does a fantastic job.
Mhm.
Followed up by next Thursday. We have the Inspectors, the Echoing Dark, ran by DC himself, as well as some other great cast members who really bring that world to life and everything that he's doing with that. But without further ado, friends, I will let you go, and we will see you all next time on Champions of Eclypsia. Until then, friends, remember, be fearless. We'll see you next time.